Mr. President, the American people are not with you on this one. We will remember in 2024.
You believe this? Far-left squad member Rashida Tlaib, who still refuses to condemn Hamas, defending the use of anti-Semitic chants, and she warns President Biden his support for Israel will cost him the pro-Palestinian vote, maybe more. It comes as former Obama advisor David Axelrod thinks it may be time for the president to drop out, suggesting, quote, if he continues to run, he will be the nominee of the Democratic Party. What he needs to decide is whether that is wise, whether it's in his best interest or the country's. Texas Senator Ted Cruz joins us now. We're going to talk about your book in a second, Senator, but your reaction to the civil war that's brewing right now on the left.
Look, I got to say, we have seen over the last 3 years the Democratic Party going further and further left. I've got to say, as we watch this war on Israel, the rabid anti-Semitism and anti-Israel hate, it's really frightening, and we see it in Congress with Tlaib and the other members of the squad. We see it on university campuses with the radical left now harassing, attacking Jewish students. You know, I saw a video recently of my alma mater, Harvard, with a Jewish student walking down the sidewalk being harassed and surrounded by activists screaming, shame, shame. As far as I know, the university's had no consequences for the active harassment and threatening of Jewish students. That's really, it's completely unacceptable.
Well, they got these massive donors, very wealthy people, who said they're going to rethink it. Will they feel that? Will Yale or Harvard or Columbia actually feel that?
So the Marxists who are on their faculty, they won't care. Will some of the administrators? Maybe, but the administrators are terrified of, number one, the woke leftists on their faculty, and they're terrified, number two, of the woke leftists in their campus. And so they can't bring themselves to clearly and unequivocally condemn it.
David Axelrod coming out against Joe Biden the way he did, how he's doing it, telling him it's up to you to drop out. It's all on you, Joe. Is there something more to that than someone who's well-known and respected in political circles? Is there something else?
Look, I think that's very serious. It's been my view for a long time that Barack Obama has been the person pulling the strings behind Joe Biden. Joe Biden is clearly not up to it. I think Obama is the one making the decision, and Axelrod is Obama's right hand. And we've seen for the last 6 months more and more warning signs that the Democrats are getting scared. Biden is not up to it. Even with his diminished capacity, they don't think he can do it. I said on my podcast 3 months ago, Verdict with Ted Cruz, I predicted that there was a very real chance the Democrats would jettison Joe Biden and parachute in Michelle Obama, and that they'd do it at the convention next summer. I think the chances of that are rising every day.
She's never been scrutinized.
She has not. And look, the reason I say Michelle Obama is if Biden gets out of the way, the person who's next is Kamala Harris, and she's a very flawed candidate. They know that. In the Democrat Party, they can't push Kamala Harris aside and replace her with a white guy. They can't drop Gavin Newsom in over an African-American woman and not have their party lose its mind. Michelle Obama is the one person who can drop in and do that and not fracture their party.
Tomorrow, Unwoke comes out, How to Defeat Cultural Marxism in America. I saw you with Mark Levin last night. What prompted this book?
That the world's gone crazy. And we've seen, this book is all about how the radical left has seized the major institutions of our society. So we're talking about the craziness we're seeing on campus. This book, Unwoke, is all about that. It is outlining how, starting in the 1960s, Marxists began seizing university campuses. And at first it seemed limited just to the Ivy League and to, crazy academics. But I call universities the Wuhan lab of the woke virus. It's where the virus was created. It's where it mutated and it spread. And every chapter in the book is a different institution that the left took over. So it goes from universities to K through 12 education, to journalism, to big business, to big tech, to science, to entertainment, Hollywood, movies, TV, sports. And the last book, the last chapter in the book is about China, which is a nexus that connects them all.
it's kind of blowing up in their face.
Yeah.
Cancel culture is blowing up on
Yes.
the people that started it. And when you look at the border, let's flew everyone in here, it's blowing up the Democratic cities and the Democrats that run it. And now the Democratic Party, where we started this segment in, is blowing up the Democratic president.
Well, it's because the cultural Marxists are turning on if you deviate. Cultural Marxism is about using force to demand obedience and compliance. That's what cancel culture is. When Tlaib is blasting Biden, she's saying, how dare you not condemn Israel? And look, the reason I sat down a couple of weeks ago with a fairly left-leaning tech entrepreneur who was asking, where did this anti-Semitism come in the Democrat Party? And I explained, in the cultural Marxist world, they have coded Jews as oppressors. And they've coded the Palestinians as victims. And the solution for the cultural Marxists is violent overthrow of the oppressors. And that's why they're cheering on these vicious terrorists.
So go try to get some aid for Israel. I know you got to go to Washington after this. Congratulations. Unwoke is now, it's out tomorrow.
It is out tomorrow, and it's already number 1, number 2, and number 3 on Amazon bestsellers for politics. So go buy it right now. You'll enjoy it.
He is truly, you are a free market person. There you go, and a capitalist.